So I had this thought that I wanted to document on the interwebs, um, as well. Capture the moment of it, but also ask you out there if I'm just way off the mark because I don't know what I'm talking about, or if there is something to this idea. So basically, what I understand about computer language, in a sense, computer storage mostly, this is mostly what I'm thinking about, is the storage of computers and how computers read that storage. It's all binary, right? It's all ones and zeros. So I had this idea: how do you fit more ones and zeros in a space so that essentially you can get more memory for the allotted amount of space? And so my first thought was, what if there was a tertiary kind of idea? What if there was a 1, a 0, and a 2? And the 2 represented a combination of 1 and 0, or 1, 1, or whatever. Maybe the 2 represent. So every time one of this combination came up, you would replace it with a 2. And then, so what's reading that material would have to know how to decipher that code. It's not just reading ones and zeros, it's reading 1, 2, 0, 1, and 2. Then it just got me that whole idea. So imagine that a whole row ones and zeros, like every I don't know, a, every little bit of information on a computer, on a hard drive or whatever, just to is a crazy amount of ones and zeros, right? So imagine if every time a 1 and a 0 were lined up together, there was a 2 there instead. It would condense, it would make more space essentially for ones and zeros. But then I was like, well, why would you need to stop there? Because I was also thinking of, from what I understand, for solid state drives nowadays, they figured out how to get basically there's little tiny switches inside there, and they figured out how to get it either to be on or off essentially, or 1, 0. But then it got me thinking, well, if they can get it on and off, why couldn't they get it halfway between there and represent the 2, right? Maybe. And so whatever it needs to, whatever is reading that would have to be able to, you'd have to tell it what to be looking for. So it's looking for not only ones and zeros anymore, you're looking for 1, 0, yes, no, or maybe so. But then I was thinking, well, why stop there? So it got me going, like, well, if you're using this 1, 0 aspect, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, you're stuck with, once you hit 9, right? You get 9 spots. If you tell whatever code it is out there looking at this information, or this, whatever's reading the information, you only have 9 things. So 2 represents a 1 and 0, 3 represents another configuration of ones and zeros. For, it's all still binary. It's just the code is telling it something different. It's like a code, the 4 is representing a set amount of ones and zeros. But then I was thinking, well, why am I locked into just using 1 through 9? That makes no sense. Essentially, what I came to realize is you can have an infinity amount, essentially an endless amount of symbols to represent a configuration of ones and zeros. If you use just that, you use symbols of any sort rather than just 1 through 9, and dashes, squares, triangles, rectangles, and all those things. So you can have all these symbols that represent certain configurations of ones and zeros, and then that would condense the amount of space needed to store things even farther. So that was my idea. The limitation I thought of at this point is in that solid state aspect of things, how you do that. And I figured if you can divide a switch in half to be maybe, then maybe you can divide that from the center point to the top another time. I don't know how the switches look. I don't know anything. I'm not a computer engineer. I don't know anything about this. This is just all hypothetical thoughts that I'm sure somebody smarter than me has already thought of and has a reason why it's not working or not being used or whatever. But I just thought figured I'd throw it out to the interwebs to see what you guys had to say about it. The other idea, so it's basically those switches. It's like, so maybe there are levels of this, and maybe solid state isn't quite up to it yet. Where, how right now we're in this revival of vinyl records is really becoming a revival again. There's a lot of people are going back to it and using it, and There's just a lot. So it kind of got me thinking. Well, that brings back like if some code like this was written, the spinning drives of hard drives that we are still using now bring more value to them again because anything can be written on the ring. Any symbol probably can be written on the ring and not just ones and zeros. Whereas when you're using solid states, if it is a series of switches, you either need to be able to divide that switch into smaller increments, and how many can you fit in there might be limited at this point, or you might have to combine switches, like say two switches represent one unit, and then depending on where they are will then tell you what the greater amount of ones and zeros is. I don't know. That's for smarter people than me to think about. But that's my idea. Tell me what you think, internet. Let me know. Am I crazy, or is this some cool idea, or has it already been thought of and I'm way late to the party? So I don't care about looking foolish because whatever. It's the internet. That's what it's for, right? All right. Anyways, I'm the Zim. Maybe I'll talk to you again. I talk to a lot of people out here. So peace.